Those are on page 5, and on the front page also, below the picture story, is Nigeria needs $5 billion to sustain economy. This is coming from Finance and, of course, the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Reps summon minister over allocations. That's the rider there. And just below that, gunmen kill German, abduct another in Ogun. Details are on page 9. And trending at the bottom there, Boko Haram forcing girls to take part in operations. And this is coming from a report, as we earlier noted, by the Human Rights Watch. Details are on page 6. Discrimination against Nigerians on Ebola must stop. This is coming from President Goodluck Jonathan. Details on page 14. That's the leadership. And Daily Trust, we turn to. It lates with Tambuwal again to join APC today. And right in there with to remain our speaker at John House till December. That's the lead story of the Daily Trust with a picture of the speaker right there. And a picture story just underneath the caption, Yero under pressure to quit Goba race. The details of that are on page 7. But this picture story is that of patients waiting at the entrance of the Central Hospital, Benin, yesterday as the hospital's casual workers protest over unpaid salaries. German killed in rescue operation in Ogun, also trending here. And budget Senate committee okays $78 oil price. Now again, just below the masthead, before the lead story there, Boko Haram abducted 500 girls in 5 years. Now that's the front page of the Daily Trust. And quickly to the Nation. The Nation, it's leading with a picture story, 2 main stories indeed. And the picture story you find there on the front page is that of the Minister of Sports, Mr. Tami Danagogo, of course, and all the officials with the African Women Championship in Namibia winners, that's the Super Falcons, on their arrival in Lagos yesterday. And below that, Tambuwal again joins APC, again is on the front page of the Nation. Speaker to retain seat after dumping PDP today. The rider there, or rather the excerpt there, is that the Speaker will not vacate his seat or resign as a member of the House because the 1999 Constitution and House rules do not say he must quit, unquote. Now, just below that, abductions no threat to talks with Boko Haram, says government. And other stories are trending just above the masthead. That's from the Nation. And Daily Sun again leads with the same story on Tambuwal, quits PDP, and formally defects to APC at plenary today. And the other story, just at the right-hand column there, Presidency Amechi in war of words. Federal government threat shows governor not safe. That's coming from the Rivers State Commissioner. And Rivers governor lied. And this is attributed to Mrs. Jonathan. Details on page 6. Now, Jega, why we're using card reader? Details on page 7. And war in Enugu over PDP chairmanship. 2015, it's bold there. Yakasa replies, Jokolo says, Sambo not political liability. That's the front page of the Daily Sun. And quickly now, Vanguard, just trending on the front page there. I was forced to fight for Boko Haram. That's the testimony of a 19-year-old woman. And there are various writers there. I was given a knife to kill an abducted civilian, she says. Live inside Boko Haram camps by abducted women. And FG may be negotiating with the wrong group. And this is coming from an Islamic scholar. And picture story there of the Kaduna State Commissioner of Police, Elijah Umar Usman Shehu, inspecting weapons recovered from some robbery suspects in Kaduna yesterday. Nigeria needs $5 billion to sustain the economy, says Okonjo-Iweala. Details on page 8. And then just below the masthead, federal government removes VAT on stock market transactions. Details are on page 9. Okay, Mr. Toebe, I think we just pause here for the review of these papers.
Yes, thank you very much. The matter of moment is the report on the insurgency. Concern has been raised that speculations and, in fact, even including media report is harming the negotiations about the ceasefire. But it is noteworthy that federal government delegation has said that in spite of the breaches of the ceasefire, the negotiations are going on and it is progressing. However, it has also been emphasized that the negotiation is going on at 3 locations: Saudi Arabia, Chad, and in Nigeria. And in fact, they specifically say that media should restrain itself from sensationalizing the issue of the insurgency because it is harming the success to the negotiations. Secondly, the parents of the Chibok girls too are in a roller coaster. Instances about their release or that has not come to materialize is apparently affecting them, and therefore we should all continue to pray and keep hope on the rising side that in due course they will be released. Most of the newspapers have come up with a story about the Speaker of the House of Representatives. You recall that the Speaker was at the APC State Congress that took place in Sokoto, and the revelation coming from there is that the Governor Wamako declared that right from the date of the formation of the APC, Speaker Aminu Tambuwal had been with them, and they specifically advised that he should remain in the PDP until it was time for him to join, and the time has now arisen. Now, we know when it comes to political issues, there are 2 perspectives clear. There is the political aspect of it, and there's what I want to describe as the politricks. The political aspect is the governance and the measures the politicians take about reaching power or remaining in their elective positions. The politics is anchoring all what may appear very inconsistent on some constitutional or some legal provisions to keep hanging on. And the crux of the matter is that it is expected, like it's reported today, that the Speaker at the plenary today will declare that he is moving party. But there are arguments across. Some say that because he's leaving his party, he ought to abdicate from the seat. And some are saying that no, as Speaker, he's the leader of the whole House and not specifically aligned to any political party. And secondly, because there is a faction in his home state, PDP, therefore that becomes a basis upon which he can defect and still not lose his seat. But it is neither here or there, because even within the PDP itself, as far back as 2007, prominent persons who have won elections to be governors on the platform of other parties had defected to PDP and still remain in office. And in the current situation, we are not too far-fetched from some PDP governors that defected to APC and still have retained their position. So
that has still been a legal issue, I think.
Well, the Constitution is clear about that. Carpet crossing certainly is not encouraged, but it is predicated on the provision that says that where there is a faction within the party, then the party member has a leeway within which he can jump ship, so to say. So those are the contentions. It is very encouraging that Mr. President has come out to make pronouncement. And yesterday, while receiving the foreign ambassador for Germany and France and the representative of the EU, he stressed Nigeria's concern about discrimination about Nigerians, particularly Ebola. And apart from the fact that the World Health Organization had declared Nigeria Ebola-free, of all instances where Nigerians were either quarantined or put under observation from Hong Kong, Canada, Spain, and even as far as China, there's not one single Nigerian that tested positive to Ebola. They have all tested negative to Ebola. Therefore, stigmatization of Nigerians is now being frowned out at the diplomatic level and the international level. And I think that is very instructive. But however, there are political developments in the firmament. It is expected that the APC will hold an extraordinary convention tomorrow. And if they do so, they are likely to look at their manifesto and also make amendments to allow people who are jumping ship to be able to contest in the party, because originally, if you join the party less than 30 days, you may not be able to contest. Similarly, it is expected by November 11th, Mr. President will also declare, and he's expected to pick up his nomination form on 30th of October at the PDP Secretariat. So those are the political developments. And so the heat for 2015 presidential election is on.
Okay, just to take you back to the issue of the Boko Haram,
yes.
You know, on the front page of the Vanguard, there is one of the writers which is insinuating that negotiations may be going on with the wrong group. Is there a possibility? Is there a possibility of that happening?
Well, from all indications, those who are negotiating have given indications that they have the custody of the girls that are being sought. And part of the negotiations is that they are seeking a swap of some of their commanders who are in custody. And these discussions are going on. But just like it's been advised, we should avoid media speculation because there's a tendency that it impinges on the negotiations. And because we value the life of our girls who are in captivity and other Nigerians, it's not only the girls that are in captivity. In fact, there's a headline that you read that says since Boko Haram started, there were 500 people that have been in captive. And therefore, we need to be very careful. However, those that are breaching what seems to be the ceasefire apparently are either the renegade within them who do not subscribe to the ceasefire, or rather maybe some criminal elements, because indications are that aside from the Boko Haram, there are other political elements and also criminal elements who are committing crimes and putting it at the doorstep of the insurgency.
Okay, Mr. J.B., let's continue with the last set of papers we have, and that's Newswatch, Pilot, and others. Daily Newswatch leads with an economic story, and it captions it this way: we need 819 billion naira in reserve for stability. Again, coming from Finance and coordinating Economic Coordinating Minister Konjo Iwealade insists Nigeria not broke. Now that's the lead story on the front page of the Daily News Watch. The picture story there is, of course, that of the French Foreign Minister, Mr. Laurent Fabius, his German counterpart, and President Goodluck Jonathan. But just below that, government signs 25.9 billion naira Benue River dredging contract, and that's taking place tomorrow. Details are on page 4. Now, Boko Haram, no attacks, abductions can derail ceasefire talks, says federal government. Sect kills 17 again in Borno. Details are on page 3. And above the masthead, armed policemen lay siege on Ondo PDP secretariat. That's the front page of the Daily News Watch. And the Nigerian Pilot is piloting with a lead story on 2015. And it says, Atiku may dump APC. Details on page 4. It has riders there. Eyes PDM ticket and says Obasanjo still Nigeria's best leader. And just above the masthead there, you find a picture of the former Minister of Information, who is now the Nasarawa Gaba, of course, gubernatorial candidate. Maku and Egwa Bood, Maman abducted. The details of that story you can find on page 6. Now, coming down again, picture story with President Goodluck Jonathan, been welcomed by the Inspector General of Police and FCT Minister. Other stories trending at the bottom: Governor Amechi recants, denies insulting Jonathan and First Lady, and 60,000 pensioners protest non-payment of benefits. Police investigate Fintry over alleged 2.8 billion naira contract, and FD drags Coca-Cola NBC to court for breach of consumer law, and other stories there. That's the Nigerian Pilot. And Blueprint leads with How to End Boko Haram by Al-Mustafa. It's on page 6, but the lead story says, finally, Tambuwal defects to APC today and vows to remain as House Speaker. You can see the details on page 6. And picture story of the Nasarawa State Governor there donating relief materials to community during the official donation of relief materials to victims of Nasarawa South sectarian crisis in Lafia. Insurgency, snakes, wild animals kill fleeing Adamawa residents. It's on page 7. And just other stories there, of course, that we've read earlier on. And finally, the Union newspaper is leading with Theodore Oji replies Gumi, nothing will stop Jonathan. That's the lead story. And just below the picture story there, blood will flow in Imo. Catholic priest warns. Details on page 2. And another industrial action looms in polytechnics. Outrage in South Africa as gunmen kill Bafana captain. Very sad story there. Mr. Toibe, very, very sad story.
Yes. The Bafana captain and goalkeeper was shot by 3 people who invaded his home, and in the bid they were demanding for his cell phone. In the bid to protect his girlfriend, they shot at his heart, and unfortunately, he didn't survive the rush to the hospital. Meanwhile, the government has declared that the an award of $23,000 for anybody who can provide information about those who killed him. Let's quickly go to the issue about the excess crude account and the speculation that Nigeria is broke. It has been said specifically that Nigeria is not broke. And also that Nigeria has enough assets around the world that it can fall back on in case of difficulties. I think all this heightened alarm came as a result of the persistent drop in the oil, crude price in the world market. And you will recollect that as far back as 2008, the oil price dropped in the market to as low as $38. And then when many nations had crises, particularly the oil-producing nations, Nigeria was one of the nations that didn't even have cause to go to IMF to borrow any money to support its economy. And it was because it has built up enough reserve to beef off that shock. Presently, the coordinating minister has advised that our excess crude account is at 4.1 billion. And if we are able to boost it up to $5 billion, we are home and dry, and then we suffer no vagaries. But however, the danger is this. We now need, in budgeting, because we are now talking about medium-term budget for 2015 to 17, we must make sure that the benchmark we put for the oil price is not as too high as not to cause a lot of confusion. Because the situation is that we had a time when our reserves got as low as $2 billion. Soon after, we were able to beef it up to $9 billion. And now it has gone down again. And when it was at $9 billion, state government, everybody said, let's begin to share. We share, and then it goes down. So those are the dangers that are involved. The last thing I'd like to talk about the president has specifically expressed shock about the happenings in the Nigerian Football Federation. You recall that there is virtually a stalemate there. And on Wednesday, tomorrow, a court in Jos is likely to discuss the issue about an appeal and a stay of execution. But meanwhile, there appear to be confusion in the Nigerian Football Federation, and it's not healthy for our Nigerian football. On one hand, Amadou Shaibu has been appointed as the coach. Giwa's committee is saying Keshi is still the coach. Amadou's people will be training at Wari, Keshi's people will be training at Abuja. So there is apparent confusion, and Mr. President has summoned Amaju Pinnick, and I think they will find a solution to it. The earlier the better, because FIFA will not wait for us.
The earlier the better. On that note, I thank you, Bayotebe, for coming to review our papers this morning. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria. We'll take another break, and when we come back, we'll start off our main conversation this morning.
Earlier this year, Nigeria was declared the largest economy in Africa.
The question then is, how do we translate this to the normal people that we meet on the streets?
Particularly the women. How can we help them to realize the potential and to look for the opportunities that exist within the economy and Nigeria?
The 2014 WIMBIZ conference will address cutting-edge issues and provide tools you need to tap into these new opportunities.
We want to be able to show women that they have the tools and skills to be able to achieve their goals, but also to surpass their own giving their talents. That's what WIMBIZ is all about, and that's what we're going to do this year in 2014.
We really try to translate for our women what the opportunities are and how they can take advantage and harness the prospects that we see, what specific skills that they can learn, and of course help them to network and to meet other women.
We invite you to join us at the WIMBIZ 2014 annual conference.
We hope to see you there.
I need a great deal, the best price I can get. That's why I shop on Jumia.
Quality you can trust. You can count on us.
It's your word delivery.
We make shopping easier. Nation delivery. When you shop on Jumia, when the radio shine.
Get the incredible Angel smartphones starting from 13,999 naira at jumia.com.ng. Jumia, the online shop you can trust.
The body to sweat, which attracts germs that are easily passed from one person to another. What keeps you so cool, man? Dettol Cool combines Dettol's protection with added menthol to protect from germs. Cool gives you maximum protection against germs every day from head to toes and an invincible icy feel. For super cool confidence, use Dettol Cool.
Dettol. Be 100% sure.
All right, let's begin our conversation this morning with this backgrounder. And we do know that the landmark vote on the ongoing constitution amendment process, in which representation at the National Assembly voted overwhelmingly in favor of independent candidacy in future elections in Nigeria, will open a new chapter on the nation's electoral process if it gets the final assent. Jide Onifade has a report, and it's on the tone for the conversation. It will set the tone for our conversation this morning on the matter.
The call for independent candidates to contest elective positions in elections has been on for quite a while, citing developed countries such as America and United Kingdom as example. This call, however, has not been heeded by the Independent National Electoral Commission, with the reason that the power to do this is beyond the Commission, and this does not exist in the country's constitution. But history may be made in the 7th session of the National Assembly, as members voted in large majority to approve independent candidacy in future elections in Nigeria. The approval means that a contestant for political office in Nigeria is not under obligation to seek affiliation with any political party or organization. This is coming at a time when party-level dictatorship and decisions are influenced by how much money is involved. Recent trend, as witnessed in the last elections, showed that the electorate now consider contestants that they know too well and who are closer to them. The move, applauded by many Nigerians, who noted that it would go a long way in advancing governance, with the major players being more responsible and accountable to the people. They said the action, if gazetted and implemented, would create room for more players, as many have begun to groan under the heavy charges or cost of obtaining nomination forms. There, however, also exist some dissenting voices among the populace. The anxiety is high as the people await the final move from the legislature.
All right, thank you, Jide Onifade, for that package. We have joined us here in Abuja studio, the Honorable Chairman, House Committee on MDGs, Honorable Alhassan Dogowa. Honorable, thank you for joining us on Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning, Claire, and good morning, Nigeria.
Now, over time, political parties are believed to evolve, within a polity. But we have seen our political spectrum, right from the military regime, streamlined into a two-party structure. You recall the NRC, I recall the SDP, down to what we have now, of course, mainly between the PDP and the APC. So what really informed the decision of the Assembly, to widen the horizon?
Claire, I think this is a straightforward matter or straightforward question. Straightforward in the sense that Nigeria is an evolving democracy. Nigeria, with the nascent democracy we have, you can agree with me. I believe viewers alike will agree with me. Even the whole concept of democracy is about a borrowed term, a borrowed process. This is a process that we borrowed from outside Nigeria. So what we are doing in the National Assembly, especially in the House of Representatives, is more or less a response, a kind of response to the total concept of a borrowed process. Democracy, borrowed. A presidential system of government, borrowed. Parliamentary, that we started long ago in the history of Nigeria, borrowed. So the idea is that we have been gingered towards coming up with so many things that will look in its entirety the way and manner this process of democracy is being run outside Nigeria. I want to say the evolution of political parties by way of creating so many windows for political interest group to take one association or the other, or to take one affiliation, to make one affiliations politically or the other, is all informed by the basic idea of creating a level playing ground, trying to create a level playing ground, trying to create a legal framework for every political interest to find a hole that will fit into him or will fit into it. So the idea behind trying to create an unprecedented position, provision in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as it is in the amendment process, is in the first place trying to respond to a borrowed system, because we have seen very fastly that nations where we borrowed this process from are also doing the same. We may be hasty, of course, we may be hasty in what we are doing, but the idea is that since the creators or the mothers of the process of democracy are doing it this way, so we believe Nigeria should also try to do it the same way outside countries are doing, especially where we borrowed the system from. And secondly, democracy is a political process.
Is it a matter of complying with the trends, with the democratic trend in other developed countries? Or is it a matter of looking at the viability of the system?
We will get to that, Claire. We will get to that. I want to just lay the background, the kind of background, lay the foundation of how it started. The system being a borrowed system is not like we are trying to tie down ourselves to what other nations are doing. But since the system is coming in with some antecedents around them, or the system is coming with some parameters around it, so Nigeria would want to see being in tandem with all parameters surrounding democratic process. The intention, second intention, is to create a liberal political window for every political interest group to be accommodated within the spectrum of Nigerian politics. The idea is that no one should feel restricted to whatever extent. The idea is that we must create a free and fair level playing ground for party or political interest groups to always find right holes to occupy, to engage into, thereby allowing every Nigerian, maybe by way of his political ideology, maybe by way of some advancements or by way of some expectations that he would want to have from political parties, find within the spectrum of Nigerian political system various political parties for him to align with. Especially if you look at, for instance, even before the urge by Nigerians and so many other countries alike, especially the members in the Nigerians in diaspora. Nigerians in diaspora through our committee on diaspora, Nigerians in diaspora also through our House Committee on Electoral Matters have been putting so much cases. Most of these things that you are seeing us doing to copy what is happening in the other part of the country or the nation of the world are being pushed and pursued by our fellow Nigerians in diaspora because they want their nation to be fast catching up with the system that is being widely operated elsewhere. And the idea is that even with our constitution, before we engage this idea of creating independent candidature, in our constitution we have a provision for almost 50 political parties. I want to believe that 50 political parties in a developing democracy like our own in Nigeria may ordinarily be sufficient for every interest holder or for every political interest group to find a hole to fit into. But the idea is that since other countries are doing, and we want to catch up through the process of learning, the National Assembly is now prepared to create this liberal window for every Nigerian to take an advantage of offering himself to the nation as an individual in the first place, and to also offer to the nation what he can be able to put on the table for Nigerians to benefit from him by way of wisdom, by way of talent, by way of political ideas or ideologies, for him to now emerge in person to say, I am offering myself as a candidate, not in association with any other political party, for Nigerians to now consider whether he's electable or not. That is not without some challenges. That is not without some challenges. The idea is that when you are every law you see in a country like this, whether developed or developing, wherever you have a process of creating a new law, there is always a wisdom behind it. There is always an expectation behind the creation of new laws. But that does not mean you could not have some inadequacies associated with this wisdom you are thinking about. When we get to the next level, for instance, in the process of our discussion, then we may now begin to look at some of these inadequacies or some of these inefficiencies that may arise as a result of creating this window.
What is wrong with the provision that anyone who wants to partake in the electoral process must do so within, the structure of a political party? And that's what we've been practicing. What is wrong with that?
There may be nothing practically wrong. But since we have, when you say 50, there is a limit to 50. When you say 100 political parties, there is still some more numbers after 100. So it's not that there is anything practically wrong. It's not that there is anything institutionally insufficient with the number of political parties we have in Nigeria. But since number 1, 2, 3, 4 to 50 is a stop in the process of the arithmetic, then we still want to give Nigerians an additional political window for them to take advantage of independent political candidature. And I want to tell you, even with the 50 political parties we have, so many Nigerians may be found wondering, still not being quietly and sufficiently accommodated by the whims and caprices of these 50 political parties. So the idea is that even though we are trying to really learn fast, as other nations are doing, the idea, like I said, there is nothing wrong in what we have now on ground in terms of 50 political parties, nothing wrong. But we still feel we should create that window, we should avail to Nigerians that utmost opportunity for every individual to run in his personal capacity for an elected position. It may be very difficult in Nigeria, but let us start.
Why would it be difficult? That's the crux of the matter. Why would it? Because people have expressed different divergent views about this amendment.
Yes.
You know, there are those who have expressed optimism about its impact to deepen our democracy and of course sanitize, bring credibility to the system. But others are really apprehensive about what it will turn out into. So what do you think will be the impact? How viable is this amendment?
You see, the viability of it is that in the first place, we are graduating into the next level of the political process. That's one thing. Whether you like it or not, we have advanced into the next page, offering Nigeria or creating a level playing ground for Nigerians, and also advancing Nigeria as a political institution into the next page of political development, because this thing is being done otherwise. But even without this question, I also do have my reservations. I also have my own way of thinking or looking at this thing. There will still be some problems. In the first place, a political process under a political platform like a political party, especially the kind of politics we operate in Nigeria, comes with a lot of expectation financially. Financial expectations. And it also has to do with the issue of integrity. An institution may have an easy integrity to identify with than an individual trying to offer his personal integrity to Nigerians to elect him or otherwise. It is more or less, for me, it's like the common saying is that the common saying we have in Nigeria is like having a bishop or a pastor that does not have a cathedral, or you have an imam, a chief imam, without a designated mosque to operate in. So that is what we are trying to do. But at the end of the day, I want to believe issue of finance, how to fund an individual, will certainly create a lot of problems. Some people will take advantage of this and try to become money bags. Not only money bags, they will try to be going around in the name of individual or personal candidature to be going around cap in hand. This will create a lot of embarrassment if it fails. So Nigerians must have to, in the first place, be educated. They must have to be enlightened as regards the implementation or the operation of individual candidature by way of independent candidacy. Otherwise, it will be abused. Abused in the sense that I will just offer myself for the sake of it, fill forms and qualify as an individual and begin to roam about on the street, begin to knock on people's offices that I'm a candidate, doing this, doing that. Our people in Nigeria, especially with the kind of politics we are playing, where money is taking so much emphasis, I want to confirm to you, if care is not taken and there is not much sensitization, there is not much education and creating a sense of awareness among Nigerian politicians, this provision or this wonderful opportunity offered to Nigerian politicians can be abused. And secondly is the issue of electability. Nigerians are used to the former system, the system of belonging first to a political party. The political party now provides what you call the vehicular institution to convey individuals who have personal aspirations to contest elections in different circumstances. But when that institution is now lacking, like in the case of independent candidature, then certainly Nigerians may bewilder. Nigerians may begin to be confused and may begin to think of taking any allegiance or making an allegiance or an alliance to an individual could quite be a risky thing. So I want to say, by way of, even though I'm not a lawyer, but at least in politics I've gone to that estate that I know the culture of our own people. The traditional culture, the political culture and the political orientation we do have. I want to tell you Nigerians, especially those of us that are in the grassroots, at the downtrodden level of Nigerian population, Nigerian communities, I'm telling you, may hardly take any adventure, may hardly take any advantage in individual candidature or what you call independent candidacy. There will be a lot of challenges. Issue of institutionalization, issues of funding, issues of taking advantage of it to abuse it. People will just roam about to make out money. A lot of things like that. And when even it comes to the coalition process, the process of collating results, I want to tell you it will be quite more difficult for the umpire, which is the INEC in this case, INEC, to be able to coordinate and analyze results if they are contested under the platform of political parties and also contested under individual capacities.
How will it
there will be a lot of challenges,
How
Claire.
will it address the issue of internal democracy? A lot of people have talked glowingly about this amendment, you know, in the areas of checking, you know, the kind of politics, the money politics we play, you know, godfatherism, clientelism, you know, loyalty and all that.
That is really a very good, it's a very good foresight, and the law is also intended to address some of these things. The political institutions, the kind of political process we have in Nigeria, whereby political institutions become too powerful. And even within the political institutions, one implication clear is that even within an institution of a political party, in Nigerian case, you always find individuals. You find individuals being extraordinarily powerful within the institution itself in the name of political parties. I can tell you now, though I wouldn't want to embarrass the PDP or to embarrass my political party, I can tell you now some individuals in the APC and some individuals in the PDP that are called the owners of the PDP. So it's like left or right, rightly or wrongly, you still have individual ownership of political institutions. So the creation of this ample opportunity for Nigerians to now be on their own will bring back these people that we call the powerful Nigerians in the political parties, will bring them back to their toes. They will sit up because they know any small mess up, an individual has a right to go and offer himself and run for an election in an individual capacity. I want to believe this will create a functional service, not a disservice, because the so-called on-court owners of political institutions will be reminded that if they offend clear while trying to contest election, or they deny you ticket, or they deny you form to contest an election, or in the case where they fixed the prices of forms so high and so exorbitant, Claire and Ado could have an ultimate option to even run in personal individual.
I'm told to round off, but quickly.
Yes.
Can popularity alone and ability or perceived ability to deliver and credibility sway, you know, an election in favor of a candidate who is with more financial might?
I think that will, but to an extent. Whether you like it or not, the precedent has already been set. The precedent in Nigerian political process is there. You cannot defeat that at the moment. When we continue to graduate to the next level, graduating, and more awareness being created, that may come into play. But at the moment, I want to tell you, no individual political guru in Nigeria will run and single-handedly, on the basis of his capacity, or single-handedly on the basis of his experience or talents, or no matter what ideas he may want to offer to Nigerians, win election on that basis. There must be some other factors associated too. And I want to tell you that is a political institution. Because the political institution is a vehicle.
Is it likely to say through the State Houses of Assembly?
I cannot speak for my young members in the State House Assembly. For so many other instances I could remember of an instance where we offered them political autonomy. In the last constitutional review, we offered all the 36 state assemblies political autonomy, which is democratically desirable, is democratically being practiced world over. So we decided to grant ourselves political autonomy so that the presidency or the executive arm of government at the federal level cannot continue to, by way of control of funds, be using the National Assembly as a rubber stamp. So at a point, we offered our sister assemblies in the states what we call political autonomy. Unfortunately, Claire, when it got to their level for concurrence, these people said we didn't want it. Right. So I cannot speak for them at this level. We are saying that this is a new window that we have created for Nigerians, and we want
be exploited.
This advantage should be exploited. And I want to call on them to please look at the wisdom behind doing or creating an independent candidature in our Nigerian constitution to allow for diverse political interest group to be accommodated and play ball. If they fail at the end of the day, then I want to say it's unfortunate, but I will want to believe that this time around they will play ball.
Alhassan Ado Dogowa,
yes,
thank you for your perspectives on independent candidature.
Thank you so much.
All right, this is Good Morning Nigeria, and our conversation is on independent candidates or candidature in Nigeria, of course, elections in Nigeria. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be taking on our next guest.
Shopee has ensured the reconstruction of the Abuja-Lokoja Road and the East-West Road in Port Harcourt.
The standard gauge rail tracks from Abuja to Kaduna and Lagos to Kano indicates that our trains are coming back.
The second Niger Bridge in the southeast and the local Oweto Bridge in the north-central are in progress, thanks to Shopee.
Shopee's mass transit program has made transportation easier for Nigerians.
Shopee has rehabilitated over 1,000 health centers across Nigeria.
Shopee has provided mama kits to pregnant women, and polio is on the verge of eradication.
Shopee has also ensured the provision of social amenities, and through its various training programs for young people, guarantees a better future.
Shopee, delivering service with integrity.
Excuse me. What people are looking for in Sokoto, we are having Sokoto. Good luck are what every parent and wishes speaking. In school, in business, in life, everybody are looking for good luck. Every country are looking for good luck. In World Cup tournament, good luck. Or Louis are come back to life, good luck. The schools are now breaking all over to betterment the future of Albageris. Good luck. Our universities are properly funded. Good luck. My damn brothers of the north, are you see what I'm saying? Agriculture are now walk over. And 33 modern dams are ready for farmers. Good luck. Fertilizers are purchased for almost free of charge. FOC. I am talking of power supply. That power reform are make steady supply of light every daily. Let us thank God. Power good luck. Good luck continue for Nigeria. This message is brought to you courtesy Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria. Down for one vision, Nigeria.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria, and we're talking about independent candidacy in Nigeria. Now, joining us to give a legal perspective to this issue is Festus Okoye. Of course, he is a legal practitioner. Mr. Okoye, thank you for joining us with candidature in Nigeria.
Well, I think that the issue of independent candidature in Nigeria is a democratic imperative, but it's at the same time very problematic. I say it's a democratic imperative because it arose from our own political practices and from the practices of political parties and the political elite. You know, prior to this particular period, under the Constitution, constitutionally, for you to contest elections in Nigeria, you must belong to a political party, a registered political party, and you must also be sponsored by that particular political party before you can contest elections. And that is the constitutional provision. Now, what has been happening is that some of the governors, some of the political parties, and some of the owners of the political parties made sure that no form of democracy exists in political parties. Candidates elected sometimes in government houses, sometimes in people's houses, and so on, and imposed on the political parties without any form of primaries. This was what gave rise to the different amendments to the Electoral Act to see whether it's possible to institutionalize internal democracy within the political parties. But as we move towards institutionalizing internal democracy within the political parties on their own and the owners of some of these political parties kept on undermining the principles of democracy. And that is why we are where we are today in relation to independent candidates. And let me just say this. The National Assembly, for instance, has been very, very proactive in terms of trying to see that our political parties are run in a very, very democratic manner. And that was why they went ahead and inserted Section 87 of the Electoral Act, which says that for you to emerge as a candidate of a political party, our team must go through some form of convention or congresses, and that for you to have your name submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission as the candidate of the political party, you must have scored the highest number of lawful votes at the party primary election. That was the intendment of Section 87. But much later, the same National Assembly moved ahead and undermined the provisions of Section 87 through the insertion of a proviso Section 10 of the Act. We say that whoever the candidate submits to the Independent National Electoral Commission as the candidate of the party, no matter how the person emerged, that the Independent National Electoral Commission is under an obligation to accept that particular list. So whether a party conducts primaries or not, so long as the party submits the name of somebody to the Independent National Electoral Commission, the Independent National Electoral Commission is bound to accept that particular person as the candidate. So I think that it is a combination of all these things that has given rise to this clamor for independent candidature in Nigeria.
We know that independent candidature has been practiced, for quite a long time in other developed democracies.
Yes.
In those climes, what are the rights? What are the legal rights of the candidates?
Well, it depends on the country itself. In some of those countries, the political parties run in accordance with democratic principles. Now, there are people who may not subscribe to the ideology of a particular political party, or may not even want to have anything to do with a particular political party. They want to pursue some specific objectives, and to that particular extent, they want to run as independent candidates to test their credibility, to also make sure that the viewpoint they represent is properly put before the electors. But they don't just jump into the political process. They follow some processes and procedures in getting to the ballot, so that you don't have all sorts of individuals running in as independent candidates and clogging the ballot paper. My problem, I support independent candidature in our own political process. But there's a problem. As of today, we have 25 recognized registered political parties. There are also those who are there who are saying that the Independent National Electoral Commission does not have power to deregister us, but the Independent National Electoral Commission has deregistered them. The problem is that when you have 25 registered political parties in a ballot paper, and then you have 25 independent candidates in the same ballot paper, it creates a problem. So I think that what we need to do is to find a balance between our political parties and the provisions for independent candidature. You cannot have a situation where, for instance, the Independent National Electoral Commission claims that constitutionally and that legally it has deregistered a political party. Now, the question you should ask is, what are the conditions for registering a political party? The only tough condition, only one tough condition for the registration of a political party in Nigeria is that that political party must have a registered office in the Federal Capital Territory.
It must have widespread.
No.
Oh, okay.
That it must have a registered office in the Federal Capital Territory. Okay. Every other thing in the Constitution is paperwork. So whether the political party decides to get an office in Gwagwalada, in Kuje, or wherever within the Federal Capital Territory, it still satisfies the constitutional provision. So what it means is that you can deregister a political party today. The political party still has, because he has not won a councillorship election, the political party still retains its office in the Federal Capital Territory and still just gathers the papers he used for registration previously and submits. And within 30 days, it comes back as a political party. So I think that the framers of the Constitution recognize the fact that we must have national political parties. And that is why he says that a political party's affairs must reflect the federal character, in which case members of its executive committee must come from at least 2/3 of all the states of the federation. So I think that the National Assembly must also look at the constitutional framework for the registration of political parties and tighten it a bit, so that we don't have political parties that are more or less independent political parties. that are being run by single individuals or in the portfolio of individuals. So I think that we must manage the issue of independent candidacy or independent candidature properly in order for us not to confuse the electors and get them not to exercise their right of choice in a very proper and rational manner.
Okay, because if it does get the assent of the 2/3 and is successful, says true,
yes,
are we likely to see a collapse of the party system?
No, we are not likely going to see a collapse of the party system. What we are going to see is that the political parties may begin to behave well. As of today, we have the Section 87 of the Electoral Act, we have Section 31 of the Electoral Act, but the political parties as of today, watch them, they are not even interested in conforming to the provisions. That's why you are hearing the process, a candidate has been endorsed and no other person is entitled to contest. That's why you are hearing I have the option of first refusal in my political party. That's why you are hearing this office has been zoned to this particular zone and no other candidate should contest. All these things are geared towards undermining the process, the party primary process. So when you have independent candidature, what that means is that the political parties may be very careful in choosing their candidates, because if they don't choose a candidate well, a candidate that has been wrongfully excluded may find accommodation in as an independent candidate and may likely win. But I say this because I think that what we need to do is to start the process of institutionalizing the independent candidacy thing with local government elections, with House of Assembly elections, with House of Representative elections and senatorial elections, and allow only political parties to contest for governorship elections and the presidency until we graduate to a certain level that we can even say that everybody, an independent candidate, can run for the presidency of this country. And mind you, one of the other things that is creating all this problem, look at what the political parties are doing. For you to buy an expression of interest form is so exorbitant before you buy the main form. So if a party says for you to contest for the presidency, for you to contest party primary elections for presidency, you must buy a nomination form for 27 million. What is that political party trying to do? It's trying to institutionalize corruption, and it's also trying to exclude candidates that are not financially endowed. So I think that this process of independent candidacy will ameliorate some of these things and degrade the stranglehold which the governors and the big men in the political parties have on the parties.
Okay, I asked the Honorable Ado Hassan this question.
Yes.
And I want to put it to you as well. Would you honestly believe that popularity and ability to deliver or credibility alone can sway an election in favor of a candidate, I mean, against a candidate who is more financially, endowed?
Well, when you give an individual the ballot paper, and the individual goes into an enclosure alone, no other person in this world knows what is going through the mind of that particular individual. There are people who vote for candidates on the basis of their religious affiliation. There are people who vote for a candidate on the basis of ethnic affiliation. There are some people who vote for a particular candidate on the basis that a candidate is handsome and the other one is ugly, or that a candidate is beautiful and the other one is ugly. There are also some people who vote on the basis of the fact that they like what a particular candidate represents. So I know that some governors were voted into power, not on the basis of the party they belong to, but on the basis of the fact that their people know them and know that the candidate is the person who can deliver what is properly called the dividends of democracy. So I think that popularity, to a certain extent, is key. Financial muscle is also key. But you know that, for instance, in a councillorship election, sometimes a professor may stand election for the post of councillorship, and somebody who has never gone to school will defeat the professor, because politics is local and the local people know who can better represent them. So I think that there are all sorts of variables that play a role in who gets elected and who does not get elected. Yes.
How can you check? Cross-carpeting It's another major problem, you know, of course, observed within our political structure. How can independent candidature, you know, address this?
Look, I was the member of the National Conference, and one of the things we recommended is that from the presidency to the last person who is a councillor, the issue of cross-carpeting should be outlawed completely. If you belong to a party, you are a member of that particular political party. If you have won election as a candidate of a particular political party, you should owe some fidelity to that particular political party. So whether the party is in crisis or not, you are going to remain there. Now, if you want to run as an independent candidate, run as an independent candidate. Don't belong to any political party. So what we have done is to say, look, you don't need to jump from one place to the other, because you are corrupting the morals of the younger generation. Because what some of the candidates are doing is to show the people that morality doesn't pay, that you don't have to subscribe to any principle. That's why somebody can be in the PDP in the morning, in the afternoon the person moves to APC, later in the night the person says, no, I've been denied nomination, I'm now in ABGA. So what that's showing is that you don't need to subscribe to any ideology. You don't need to believe in anything. If you don't believe in this one, just move over to the other one. And I think it is not good for our younger generation, it's not good for our political process, and it is not good for our morality. So let's people who want to be independent candidates remain as independent candidates. If you want to belong to a particular political party, go to go and become a member of the political party, be sponsored by that particular political party. If you fall out with the party that has sponsored you for an election, the rational thing to do, the moral thing to do, the constitutional thing to do is for you to quit and go and test your popularity elsewhere. That is the way it should go.
As an independent candidate.
Maybe as an independent candidate, yes.
All right, Mr. Festus Okoye, or Barrister Festus Okoye, thank you for coming to share perspectives. And of course, Barrister Okoye was a delegate to the National Conference. We thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
We'll take another break, and the program continues shortly.
The body to sweat, which attracts germs that are easily passed from one person to another.
What keeps you so cool, man?
Dettol Cool combines Dettol's protection with added menthol to protect from germs. Cool gives you maximum protection against germs every day from head to toes and an invincible icy feel. For super cool confidence, use Dettol Cool.
Dettol. Be 100% sure.
What's the matter with you, little Mary?
She's not sleeping well, doctor.
And how is she feeding?
She's got a good appetite.
Then maybe it's her diaper making her wet.
But the diaper doesn't leak.
It's not only about leakage. A diaper can feel dry on the outside but could still be wet inside.
That could be why she doesn't sleep well.
That's why I recommend Pampers, because they keep your baby dry. Pampers locks wetness away from your baby's skin. With Pampers, you'll sleep peacefully, so she'll be ready to shine every morning.
Endorsed by Pediatric Association of Nigeria.
I need a great deal, the best price I can get. That's why I shop on Jumia.
Quality you can trust. You can count on us. We make shopping easier. Fashion delivery. When you shop on Jumia, when the rain shine.
Get the incredible Angel smartphones starting from 13,999 naira at jumia.com.ng. Jumia, the online shop you can trust.
Get your favorite Dettol 70-gram pack for 100 naira, and now available the Super Family Pack for 170 naira only. Whichever Dettol soap you choose, you get maximum protection against germs every day.
All right, we have also joined us here in the studio, Mr. Nicholas Shaliza. He is a politician and contested in the House of Reps in one of the constituencies in Borno State. That was in 2001. Mr. Shaliza, thank you for coming to Good Morning Nigeria. How do you receive the news of the amendment recognizing independent candidates?
Well, I received this news with mixed feelings. One, it's a welcome development because it will help in deepening democracy, but with mixed feelings because in the long run, it's a good thing, but in the short run, we are going to have a lot of problems with that provision. One, the issue of voter education has to be done seriously so that the electorates who are largely at home and in the rural areas will know in the first place what is the import, what is the meaning of independent candidature. They've never seen this before, and as we are talking now, so many of them in the villages don't even know if there is such a provision that is coming up. Now, in the short run, it's going to be difficult because I'm talking as someone on ground, as a practicing politician. There is going to be a lot of stress on the candidate himself, because in areas where parties usually come in to help their candidates, now you have to go it alone. There is going to be a lot of financial burden on you alone. There is going to be a lot of logistical burdens also on you, because you find out that during elections, parties have their agents in every polling unit. These agents are paid for. Now you have to have those agents on your own in every polling unit. You got to have campaign directors, campaign coordinators in every ward and polling unit as an independent candidate. I feel it might be much more practicable at the lower level. For example, the election of councillors. There is one councillor from each ward. You are known by everyone in that ward based on your name and even family or where you come from. But if you are to contest as an independent candidate in the Nigerian context, where the literacy level is not so high, that means it is your name alone that is going to appear on the ballot paper, not logo like that of other parties. Mm-hmm. You will bear me witness that when women or old men come out to vote, what they usually do is they will say, show me the umbrella so that I'll cast my vote, or show me the broom, or show me the maize, because my candidate is from that party. Now, what will they say, show me, in the case of an independent candidate? It has to be his name. So it's going to be a little bit much more difficult. We are not conducting elections in the academia or in civilized settings where you read out your manifestos and so on, and that one you are known by name. The society where these elections are held is not in the universities. It would have been easier if you are in the university, in the student union, you contest, everybody knows you by name. It is this person that is contesting and we want to vote for him. But in the long run, because we will be grappling with it and then it will be improving, I'm happy about it because you find out that a lot of popular candidates don't get to elective offices. A lot of candidates that have things to deliver cannot get to offices because their interests have been suppressed within their parties for one reason or the other. For the fact that either they have refused to yield to some powerful interests within the party, or for the fact that they are zoned out purposely so that they will not get the nominations and so on. Now here comes an opportunity for them to come out and say, well, okay, I've been suppressed here, but if my people truly like me, let me attempt it on an individual platform. He has no pedestal to climb like a party platform, and therefore he has to work more than twice as much as his other opponent that is in a party with a platform that is promoting his candidature.
Okay. Now, widen the political spectrum, to accommodate independent candidates is believed to be a democratic process, not just to bring credibility to the system, but also to enhance service delivery. Do you see that happening?
Yeah, it will enhance service delivery in the sense that the independent candidate, anybody that says he's coming out as an independent candidate has a conviction within him that he has something to offer. I will not just want to lie low. And therefore, by coming out, if he is lucky and he gets there, the difference will be shown. However, he's going to have a lot of limitations even where he is going, depending on what office he is going to contest. If it is in the state assembly, let's take legislative chambers as an example. He is going to be minority of the minorities when he gets there. And that will mean he will have no much latitude to operate. And the Nigerian democracy that we know here is that you ought to belong to a larger bloc to be favored, to be heard, before even that dividend of democracy can trickle down to you and to your people. So if you are a minority, yes, you've made the name that you have won. You are there. That is where you see a situation where some people will go and adopt a party just because they want a platform to win, and when they get there, they say, we are now cross-carpeting or decamping to the larger party. It's because maybe they find the space so small within which to operate and to be able to make their presence known, even at their constituency.
You know, candidates who vie for elective posts under political parties, of course, are sponsored by their parties. Now, with independent candidates, this is not likely to happen. I mean, they bear the brunt, like you said, of the financial cost. Of course, the cost of their campaigns, they will need to sensitize, you know, majority of the people get their mandate. How is that possible?
It is possible to the extent that your resources and your energy carries you.
Is that a challenge?
It's a very big challenge. One, if you are a candidate of a party, it's still at certain levels. If you are an independent candidate, you don't have. You have only your own resources and energy, and you have few people based on your goodwill that may assist you. If you are a candidate of a party that is on ground, you have even more people that may want to assist you, because in this country, a lot of people assist people as a way of even investment, thinking that when you get there, you also be of assistance to them. As an independent candidate, a lot of people, because of the culture we already have in place, are a bit skeptical in assisting you. Two, we have this culture that is so stereotyped that you find people in the rural areas are stuck to party and not candidates. You find someone that is traditionally PDP, and anybody that is a candidate in PDP, that person, when it is time for election, must vote for that person. When it's time for election, another person will say, I must vote for APC because I'm an APC member. So it may be as clean and as pretty, as beautiful as anything, with a lot of ideologies. On the date of the election, you may not really have it. It's a big challenge because you are going there as an individual. And the level of literacy that I have also told you is something. So voter education has to be taken seriously by INEC, so that the positive side of this independent candidature will be taken, will be good for candidates and so on.
Okay. I would have loved to ask you, you know, how this will impact the political space, because a lot of people believe that it will become chaotic, because now that you have given the leeway to independent candidates, there is no telling the number of people who will come out, you know, who would want to, you know, contest elections.
I don't believe it will be chaotic. Every politician knows what he wants. And every politician also knows the disadvantages of running an on independent candidature platform. Yes, there will be jokers. Those that will say, oh, let me try it, so that my name will just be in history that I have attempted being an independent candidate. Even in developed democracies, you don't see so many of them coming out as independent candidates. And that is where the time you are not going to, you may likely not have to buy any form or any expression of interest form or whatever. It is there for you, but you find out that it may not be chaotic. Take for example, even in established party structures, where they say, okay, women are to pick the forms free. In PDP, they have said women should pick forms free. How many women have you seen that have come out? It is not too different from independent candidature. In fact, in this case, you are even lucky. You have a platform, a well-established one, and they have said, come and pick this form free. And yet, how many women have you counted as at now that have picked such forms?
All right, Mr. Nicholas Shaliza, a practicing politician, thank you for your perspectives.
You are welcome. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll take another short break, and then when we come back, sorry about that, Mr. Shaliza is in a hurry to leave the studios. Don't worry, we'll soon let you go. No problem. All right, we'll take a short break now.
Excuse me. What people are looking for in Sokoto, we are having Sokoto. Good luck are what every parent and wishes speaking. In school, in business, in life. Everybody are looking for good luck. Every country are looking for good luck. In World Cup tournament, good luck. Or Louisa come back to life, good luck. The schools are now breaking all over to betterment the future of Almajiris. Good luck. Our universities are properly funded. Good luck. My dear brothers of the north, are you see what I am saying? Agriculture are now walk over. That 33 modern dams are ready for farmers. Good luck. Fertilizers are purchased for almost free of charge. FOC. I am talking of power supply. That power reform are make steady supply of light every daily. Let us thank God. Power good luck. Kachina Gebezio. Good luck continue for Nigeria.
This message is brought to you courtesy Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria. TAN for One Vision, Nigeria.
Put a cup of jig in the water, we'll get school uniforms whiter, and it is the tough stain fighter that will get your whites much brighter. Just Chickens! Pot puree and lemon. Just Chickens! Hey, you better go get it! Now available in lemon and pot puree fragrances, the newest and freshest way to chickens.
I need a great deal, the best price I can get. That's why I shop on Jumia.
Quality you can trust. You can count on us.
It's your word delivery.
We make shopping easier. Fashion delivery. When you shop on Jumia, when the radio shine, Jumia.
Get the incredible Angel smartphones starting from 13,999 naira at jumia.com.ng. Jumia, the online shop you can shop.
Mama's cooking. Let's help her. Wait. My mama says before touching food, you should wash your hands with soap.
But my hands are clean.
I can't see germs, but they're everywhere.
Look under special blue light. To protect against germs, I recommend regularly use soap. Safeguard removes millions of germs, and additionally, it inhibits regrowth of germs that might cause skin rashes for hours.
That is why me, mommy, daddy, and my brother regularly use Safeguard.
Supported by the African Medical Association.
All right, welcome back. Now, on Good Morning Nigeria yesterday, we discussed how the Constitution Amendment by the National Assembly granting autonomy to local governments will help deepen the country's democracy and development at the grassroots. Now, guests on the program give different perspectives. I was at an assignment yesterday and I came across some local government chairmen, and believe me, it was difficult to get most of them share their views on this development. But here are the views of those who were bold enough to talk to me.
Shouldn't be afraid of going forward.
there may be issues that need to be addressed, but that should not deter us from going forward.
What kind of leverage would you think might this autonomy grant local government chairman now?
Rather than look at the powers that will accrue to the local government chairman, I'd like us to look at it in the context of bringing development closer to the grassroots. If we look at it from that perspective, a lot of the fears will be allayed. We can't then be able to look at the critical issues that will ensure that powers are not concentrated in the hands of an individual. Rather, it should be powers that would benefit the generality of the people at the locality.
Well, what kind of leverage will autonomy give to local government chairman?
The leverage is you'll be independent. Independent. That doesn't mean that you won't have interaction with the state. The state will still controlling you, but you have independence of how to choose your projects. You will want to be available to do whatever you want to do.
So would you rather have a local government administration that is supervised by states, but having financial autonomy?
President of the states. And then how can you now say a local government is somebody that is going to create a local government, they doesn't have the ability to control financially. So the autonomy, I mean, is two ways.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Freedom to administer our local government, to administer my local government. I'm really happy for that. Yes.
Okay. Before now, how was it? How were you administering your local government?
We are controlled by the states. We have a ministry supervising our local governments, controlling our financial spendings. Yes.
All right, you've heard, of course, some of the respondents talking about how they feel about the autonomy. Now, one of those who also spoke with me yesterday is right here in the studio, and she is one we can say has her hands on the wheels on issues of local government administration. I'm talking about Mrs. Hassana Arkila. She's chairperson, Bogoro Local Government Area of Bauchi State. Thank you very much for finding time to join us on the program. Quickly, what are your perspectives? What do you think? You heard some of your colleagues there talking about control, by their state executives. Is that how it is?
Yeah, good morning, my sister. Just like they have said, it's pretty true what they are saying. We've been controlled by the Ministry for Local Governments, whereby whatever we have to do in our own local governments, we have to go through the Ministry of Local Governments, whereby the Commissioner, Ministry for Local Governments, we have to forward our problems to the state governor for approval of whatever that we need to carry out in our states or in our various local governments. So in this case, the way I'm looking at the perspectives, issue of local government autonomy, if that were to be granted, I will be the most happiest person because it will help us. We that deals with people from the grassroots, we know what they go through. I'm not saying maybe we are at loggerhead with our state governors or anything. Yes, it's good. We have very good relationship. We enjoy mutual benefits with them. But what I'm saying here as a chairperson of a local government, if we were to be granted that autonomy, it will grant us the opportunity to execute a lot of things that will touch lives. Because we are always with the people from the grassroots. We know what they like. We know what they need. We know a little thing that will always touch lives. You may come from the state government, maybe from the state government, they may come and do something very big, ambiguous, while nobody will be appreciating it because that is not their number one need. While maybe a chairperson of a local government or a chairman to a local government can do just something that is just negligible. You will not even think it will touch anybody's life. You will find out that people are appreciating because that you have touched them where they are really having need as at that time. So I believe the issue of autonomy is an acceptable one by every chairman of a local government.
So why is it that, because right now the issue of development at the local government level, is a big challenge, and everyone is pointing accusing fingers at the irresponsibility, so to speak, I beg to use that word, of those controlling that tier of government. So why is it that at that level development is at its lowest ebb?
We can't say, my sister, we can't say irresponsibility per se. The governors, some of our governors, most especially my own governor from my own side, he's a very good man, and that's why we call him governors of the masses. They have it. They have the feelings to help us. But just like I was saying, they may be helping where the need was not that was not the prior need of our people. You understand? It's possible maybe they wanted to help, they wanted to intervene, they wanted to assist.
Do you get enough funds? Do you get the funds that you require to carry out the projects, development projects that will really touch the lives of the people at the grassroots?
Honestly, just like from the federal government, they have been crying. Just recently, you are hearing about the fall in the prices of oil and other things. The same thing goes to the states, the same thing goes down to the local government. So the local governments will have the mind. Somebody like me, I have the mind to touch the lives of my own people. But because the cash is not there for you to exhibit anything, no matter the demand of the people, somebody will just come to you, a typical village man will come. The only thing he needs from you, maybe 5,000 naira worth of something, and it is good to go. A whole community will come. The problem may not be more than 20,000 or even just 10,000 naira to make a little culvert for them. They call it in Hausa, they call it malale. Somebody is not interested. The typical village man doesn't bother about a bridge, doesn't bother about tar road. But they will just need maybe accessible roads, feeder roads that will just enable them have easy access to the nearby markets, help them go to the clinics, maybe in terms of labor or anything, so that they will easily get in touch with the clinics near them. And then if they want to bring out their farm products from the farms, they should have easy movements. So the roads, the terrains are not good, more especially during the rainy season. It's not easy. So as I'm talking to you, presently some little projects are taking place in my own local government. I know what it is, and it is just a little amount, but with the little I am doing to see that I fuel the grader, assist the engineer, assist my operators to be given the little amount, just to see that I keep touching lives. Listen, you can see that everybody in the local government is jubilating over that.
So do you think that this autonomy will enhance the service delivery? Will it put structures in place?
Oh my God, if that were to be granted, my own local government will turn to a city. I am telling you, because something that would have been spent like hundreds of millions to see that you put all these things in order, to a local government chairman, if you give him just 50 million, 20 million is enough to carry out a lot of projects in our localities. So little things touches lives a lot, and we always have them there. We are the only people that mingle with them. We know their immediate needs. We know what normally touches them. We know what they need for now. So that is why we will need that free hand. We should be given that free hand.
When local governments had some degree of autonomy, and when you had the responsibility of, for instance, paying the school fees of primary school teachers, that didn't happen, and there are fears of irresponsibility in terms of mismanagement of funds, by those who are at the helms of affairs at the local government. These are some of the worries, the concerns of people. If autonomy is granted to the local government, local government areas.
Yeah, that one cannot be ruled out, because I cannot say no. That is why I will bring issue of gender sensitivity here, because when women are in leadership, we are mothers. I am a mother of 7. I know how it hurts, how I can see a woman like me suffering, going through pains and other things, to have the children, train them. Most of the times you will see a man will have the family, will have the children, but he will not bother to even know what they are going through about the education and other things of the children. So it is the mothers normally that go through pains and other things. So if women are allowed to come into politics very well, I believe it will go a long way curtailing all these things. You know, a typical village man, if you see somebody who comes out with little money to just contest that, I want to be a chairman of a local government, people will rush into grabbing him without knowing his intention, without knowing his motives. After voting him in, if he comes in, he has never seen the kind of money he is seeing now, so he will just end up mismanaging the money, of course. So that one is also applicable to any level of government, be it federal, state, or local government. So I cannot say this thing is only applicable, or the wastage of money is only applicable to local government levels. No, but what I'm saying is it will go a long way touching lives if that were to be given to the local government levels. We cannot say out of 774 local government chairmen will have the same mind, the same feelings, the same community carrying their local government at heart the way others are, or the way we feel about our people. But I believe at least out of 100%, we will get 90% or 80% who will deliver. That is it.
All right, Honorable Hassana Arkila, Chairperson, Bogoro Local Government Area of Bauchi State, of course, talking to us on her perspectives on the granting of autonomy to the Local Government Council. Thank you, Honorable, for coming.
Thank you, my sister. Happy to see you.
All right, we'll move on now, and up next will be sports, as Musba Dan Wahab gives us a rundown of soccer action with Nigerians in diaspora. That will be after the break.
I bet you can touch your nose with your thumb. Your nose? It's the same with your toilet. There are many places in your toilet that detergents cannot clean. That is why the new Harpic 5 times complete gives you 5 times better cleaning than detergent from the rim all the way to the U-bend, making your toilet completely clean. With Harpic 5 times complete, you will definitely reach all the hard-to-clean places in your toilet.
Harpic Power Plus. Buy now for only 350 naira.
The body to sweat, which attracts germs that are easily passed from one person to another.
What keeps you so cool, man?
Dettol Cool combines Dettol's protection with added menthol to protect from germs. Cool gives you maximum protection against germs every day from head to toes and an invincible icy feel. For super cool confidence, use Dettol Cool.
Dettol. Be 100% sure.
I need a great deal, the best price I can get. That's why I shop on Jumia.
Quality you can trust. You can count on us. It's your delivery. We make shopping easier. National delivery. When you shop on Jumia, when the radio shine.
Get the incredible Angel smartphones starting from 13,999 naira at jumia.com.ng. Jumia, the online shop you can trust.
Welcome. Let's talk sport now. Options continue to grow for the interim coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Shuaibu Amadu, to make his team a rescue mission as more Nigerian players in the diaspora continue to put up impressive performance for their various clubs across the world.
Weekend soccer action saw Nigerian players in the diaspora continue their impressive performance in front of goal. In the English Premiership, young Nigerian attacker Sami Ameobi got his first goal of the season for his side Newcastle as they defeated home side Tottenham Hotspur by 2-1. Sami's goal came shortly after the resumption of the second half.
Here is Ameobi onside and scoring! Inside the first 7 or 10 seconds of the second half. Took it with his first touch, blasted it home with his second. That's a super sub. Well, sometimes the man.
Still in the EPL, Nigerian forward Victor Anichebe also got his first goal of the season, netting in the 51st minute of the 2-2 draw encounter between his side West Brom and Crystal Palace.
Chris Brunt's corner. It's another scramble, and the goal is given for Anichebe. Well, I think Anichebe is the goal scorer, but I'm not sure how much he actually knows about it. He goes up, challenges the keeper, and actually just hits him, doesn't it? And ricochets back into the netting.
In Russia, forgotten Nigerian midfielder Fego Ogude also got his first goal of the season for Amkampam in their 2-0 win over visiting Rostov. The former Eagles player scored with an header in the 16th minute of the game. Anthony Uja of Cologne in the German Bundesliga came in as a substitute in the 58th minute and scored the only goal in the 59th minute as Cologne went away with 3 points at Werder Bremen. In Turkey, former Rosenborg marksman John Chibuike was involved in the 8-goal harvest encounter between his side Gaziantepspor and home side Trabzonspor. Chibuike, who has only 1 goal to his tally, made it 2 goals in 5 appearances this season in the 64th minute, looping the ball over the on-rushing goalkeeper Vati Ozturk.
Chibuike ile geliyor Gaziantepspor. Chibuike ve top ağlarda. Chibuike. İnanılmaz bir maç izliyoruz. 4-2 oldu 64. dakika. 1 dakika sonra Chibuike.
Still in Turkey, former Enugu Rangers forward Chikelubo Fuedu continued his impressive start to the season, scoring in his side's Kasiyaka's 2-0 away win at Manisaspor in the 2nd division of the Turkish league. Azerbaijan defender Mair Sukurov had given the visitors the lead in the 20th minute through a free kick before the Nigerian doubled the scores in the 35th minute through a well-placed shot.
Kazandırdığı top Onur. Juninho pası Ofedo ceza alanında vurdu ve nefis bir gol attı. Ofedo farkı 2'ye çıkartıyor. 35. dakika. Manisaspor 0 Karşıyaka 2. Juninho'nun pası Ofedo köşeden çok iyi.
In Norway, Kaduna-born forward Leke James was on the score sheet for Tippeligaen side Hallesund in their 2-1 away win to home side Viking. In Portugal, Michael Uchebo scored in his side's Boa Vista's home loss to Pacos de Ferreira. Uchebo's goal was a consolation in the 85th minute.
No final, a assistência é de Quincy, oportuno, o antigo avançado do Cercle de Bruges marcou na estreia. O nigeriano chegou há 15 dias, estava sem clube e já provou que pode ajudar a equipa de Petit.
The most outstanding Nigerian of the weekend is Italy-based Jerry Mbakoju, who netted a brace in his side's Capri's 5-0 away win at Pescara in the Italian Serie B. Mbakoju's first was in the 60th minute after faking 2 defenders. His second and the last goal of the game came in the 84th minute. He received a through ball and calmly slotted the ball past the on-rushing goalkeeper.
And that's sports this time. The program continues very shortly.
On the foreign scene, Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko is hoping the embattled European country would enter a new phase with the success of the country's parliamentary elections. Nnamdi Odikwe will be bringing us details after this reflection of events today back in history.
Hello and welcome. Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko has expressed his confidence in his country's future after pro-Western and nationalist parties won overwhelming support in the country's 8th parliamentary elections. After casting his own ballot at the Kyiv polling station, Poroshenko to the press conference that Ukraine would have a pro-Western parliament in favor of his anti-corruption reforms and further integration with the European Union. The Poroshenko bloc was forecast to be the biggest party, although it needs partners to form a ruling coalition, according to early results and exit polls. Poroshenko would likely strike an alliance with the more moderate People's Front of current Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk. And we hear that Uruguay's presidential election is most likely to enter into a runoff next month, as the ruling coalition led in the first round vote but didn't get an absolute majority. According to exit polls, Tabaré Vazquez, the presidential candidate for the ruling Broad Front, garnered an average of 44% of the votes, while 41-year-old Lacale Po, the candidate for the opposition National Party, got around 32% of the vote. Over 2.6 million registered voters went to cast their ballots during the election in around 6,900 polling stations across the country. The incumbent president, Ose Mujica, and presidential candidates all showed up at polling stations to cast their votes. And from Palestine, we hear that the first terrestrial downpour of an approaching winter has already soaked the Gaza Strip, compounding the misery of thousands of Palestinians who scrambled to patch homes wrecked by the summer war with Israel, while Palestinian officials rejoiced at the $5.4 billion pledged at an international aid conference last week towards reconstruction and shoring up their budget. Many in Gaza fear that, as was the case after past wars with Israel, not all of the money will materialize. And finally, negotiations for an ambitious trade pact among Pacific countries has made significant progress, but the gap between Japan and the United States over the issues of market access and other orders remain. The 12-nation Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, is central to President Barack Obama's policy of expanding the U.S. presence in Asia, and the president has expressed hopes of concluding a deal by the end of the year. An agreement between Tokyo and Washington is crucial to securing the broader pact, as other partners are reluctant to commit until they see how the two resolve their differences, particularly over access to each other's markets for industries such as agriculture and automobiles. And that's it on the foreign scene. Good morning.
All right, now when you're faced with disability, what happens? Well, here is what happens when, of course, you encountered that. We understand that determination and courage would, of course, become second nature. Here is how on Arts and Entertainment.
Hello, welcome, and thanks for always being our guest. It's another day for some arts and entertainment. Today we'll look at some special people who are expressing their passion, experience, and thoughts in arts, even in disability. Plus, a new movie that will hit the cinemas soon. It tells the story of love. So now let's go on a roller coaster.
Their voices might not be heard, but the message they are passing across carries strength and emotions, a message to raise awareness that art defies the use of the five sensory organs. Rather, it embodies in a common voice that which reflects passion, purpose, and hope. These works of art, captured by this group of people, are creations which centers on acceptance and recognition. The belief their inability to hear has alienated them from getting the necessary attention. Thus, this is typified in this piece they call Suffering in Silence.
Because deaf people don't have a voice, they're usually, there is very little awareness of what goes on in the deaf community. And a lot of deaf people use sign language as a means of communication. And very few hearing people in Nigeria are unable to use sign language. So I want to be able to help them pass a message across.
The exhibition by this group of people is just to show the world that art is universal, irrespective of tribe, creed, or physical abilities. They therefore seek a common ground with their counterparts who are not incapacitated.
Art is a language which everybody understands, so it will be easy to pass a message across without having to stick to a peculiar language. For example, deaf people can interpret messages from materials through art, and it's the same with other hearing people could also interpret.
As they continue in their calling, they hope that one day the story of suffering and silence will translate into a more joyous phase.
All right, I have been the lone pilot today, and we've gotten to the point of our destination. I thank you for watching, and we'll do it again same time tomorrow. My name is Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak. Bye for now.